Once upon a time, there lived a very rich man in a village who had two daughters named Sade and Bidemi. Sade was his first daughter from his first wife, who died many years ago, whilst Bidemi was his second daughter from his second wife, Folu. One day, the rich man was very sick and decided to share his properties. So, he called his two daughters and asked them to choose between two portions of land. Sade, being the first daughter of the man, stood up to choose her own portion of land first when her stepmother, Folu, interjected and ordered her own daughter, Bidemi, to choose first. Bidemi chose the very beautiful portion of land with so many healthy crops and grasses, leaving the sparse land for her stepsister, Sade. Sade was so sad at what had happened, but her sick father consoled her and told her to take good care of the land as he passed on. Every morning, Sade would wake up early to go and till her land, whilst her stepsister, Bidemi, hardly did any work on her land because she was so lazy. Not long afterwards, Sade's land began to develop as her crops began to grow and filled up the once sparse land. One day, this was many months later, Sade came to her land to check on her crops when she saw a strange-looking young man standing in between her land and her stepsister's land. The man approached Sade and offered her some money to buy her land, but Sade declined the man's offer. The man then doubled the money he offered for the land, but still, Sade declined and told the man that she was not selling her land. Whilst they were having the conversation, Bidemi was eavesdropping and immediately approached the man and offered to sell her own portion of land. The man, seeing how desperate Bidemi was to sell her land, offered her an amount less than what he offered Sade, and Bidemi, without thinking through the offer, quickly accepted the man's offer and sold her land to him. She was relieved that she did not have to bother about looking after a land that she was not interested in at all. Bidemi and her mother squandered the money they got from selling the land, and soon later the money finished. One evening, while Sade was harvesting some of her crops, she saw a transparent rock in the ground. It was a strange-looking object, so she began to dig deeper and saw more of the transparent rock in the ground. Sade was so confused at this point, so she took the object home to show to Bidemi and her stepmother, Folu, to see if they knew what the object was. On sighting the object, Folu and Bidemi were clueless, so Sade decided to visit the village goldsmith to see if he knew what the stone was. Unknowingly to her, her stepsister Bidemi secretly followed her to the goldsmith's shop as she was curious to know what the rock was made of. Then she overheard the goldsmith telling Sade that the transparent rock was indeed raw diamonds worth so much money. Bidemi became so jealous and wished she never sold her land, and also wished she chose Sade's land too, as she believed that diamonds could also have been in her land she sold to the man. Bidemi got home and told her mother about the diamonds, and the both of them began to plan on how they would take over the diamonds from Sade. One morning, Sade was going to her land when she suddenly heard a loud cry for help from the bush. She hurriedly rushed towards the bush to see who needed help, but felt a large rock hit her head from behind. She screamed in pain as she fell to the ground unconscious. It was Bidemi and her mother Folu. They immediately dragged Sade into a hole that they had dug and buried her. They were now excited as Sade's land could now be theirs. Then they immediately went to Sade's land and began to dig for some more stones, but found none on their first day of digging. So they shared the land into portions and dug a portion a day so as to be able to dig around the land to find the transparent diamond rock. After a whole week of digging, they found a small transparent rock and they were so excited. They immediately went to the market to sell the rock to the local village jeweler, who gave them a huge amount of money for the rock. Bidemi and her mother Folu continued to exploit the land and never for once regretted their actions towards Sade. As days passed, Bidemi and Folu had made so much money from the diamonds and decided to look for the man that bought Bidemi's land to see if he would be willing to sell the land back to them. They asked around the village for the man that bought the land and were finally directed to the next village. The man was living in the neighboring village. So Bidemi and Folu went to the man's hut and requested to buy their land back. The man, on seeing them, told them that he would sell the land to them on only one condition, that they would have to pay 10 times the value of the land if he was to release the land back to them. And Bidemi and her mother deliberated on if they should buy the land back, as the amount the man wanted to sell the land for was the amount they had gotten from all the diamonds that they had sold from Sade's land. After several minutes, they agreed to buy the land and paid the man all the money they had. They were so excited as they could not wait to get more diamonds from the land. On the first day, they dug several portions of the land but found nothing. This they did on day 2, 3, and 4, and still yet they found no diamond. At this point, they had dug up all the land, but yet they found no diamonds. This made them weep, as they did not have any money left and no diamonds either. They decided to go back to the man that they had bought the land from to see if they could sell the land back to him again. But to their surprise, they saw Sade at the young man's house. They were in so much shock as they thought that they had killed Sade and buried her. What they did not know was that the young man saw them when they hit Sade with the big rock and buried her. So immediately they left the land. The young man quickly ran to save Sade and took her to his house. When Sade finally became conscious, she told the man the whole story and the reason why her stepmother and sister tried to kill her, and the young man was so full of rage. So, on the day that Bidemi and her mother visited the young man to buy off the land that Bidemi had sold to him earlier, the man saw it as an opportunity to take back all the money that they would have gotten from selling off Sade's diamonds, and that was why he sold the land to them for 10 times the initial price. Then the young man gave Sade most of the money and only kept his own portion for the land. Also, Before Bidemi and her mother approached the man to buy off the land, the young man had gone to the land to dig out all the diamonds on the land after listening to Sade's story, and he gave Sade some of the raw diamonds to thank her for opening his eyes to the treasure on his land. On hearing this, Bidemi and her mother Folu began to beg Sade for forgiveness as they saw that all their actions had backfired. The chief of the land soon heard what had happened and sent Bidemi and her mother out of the village on exile and warned them never to return to the village ever again. Soon later, Sade got married to the young man and they both amassed great wealth together. The lesson to be learned from this story is that we should learn to be satisfied with what we have and not be jealous of what others own. Oftentimes, what we have might be a lot better, so we should always learn how to be contented, because contentment is the key to success and happiness, whilst greed is the root of all evil. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like, subscribe and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. I'll see you in our next story. Bye.